Today we'll be talking about the presidential executive orders President Trump signed last week. We will see how those orders are unraveling, given that we are getting into more details about them. I will talk about some three key provisions of that executive order. We'll talk about the eviction moratorium. We'll talk about the $400 a week unemployment booster extension, and we'll also talk about the payroll taxes. Before we go ahead, please make sure you subscribe to our channel if you have not done so. C2C Mentors is a real estate mentorship community, and all we do here is talk about your finances because we know it is the foundation for your family's well-being. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Also hit the notification bell so you get our videos as we put them out. On my last video, I talked about the President Trump's executive orders that he signed last week. And I asked the question if those were really aimed at helping the American people, or if that was just a show to gain some kind of political capital. Today, I will be addressing some of the key provisions of that executive order. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, he gave an interview today on Fox Business. This is what he said, in quote, "Businesses cannot be forced to participate in the payroll tax holidays." So what he said there is very, very coded. So although the president has signed the executive order, payroll tax holidays is one of the provisions of that order. But the Treasury Secretary is saying businesses do not have to participate if they don't want to. This leaves a lot of room for doubts and uncertainty. I've advised many of my business clients, keep paying your payroll tax. The question now is, if you don't pay your payroll tax now, by the end of the year, by January, will you have to pay that? So I think the safest thing to do is for you to continue paying on your payroll tax until we can get some kind of a clear guidelines from the Treasury Secretary or from the IRS about how to handle these payroll taxes. Again, we have an executive order, but nothing is clear. So keep paying your payroll taxes. Steven Mnuchin also said, "I think the president would like to do the payroll tax cuts so that he will go back to Congress when he wins the election and ask Congress to have this money forgiven." I also find that very tricky. The president signs an executive order. Elections are coming in November. Steven Mnuchin is saying businesses don't have to participate in the payroll tax holidays if they don't have to. And he goes further to say that the president would like to go to Congress when he wins the election to ask Congress to forgive this money. I find that very, very tricky. You know, it's rather unfortunate that the entire stimulus check or the economic impact payments have been so politicized. So it's either you're on this side or you're on this other side. Now we are talking about winning an election what was the president just doing a show or last week? I'll let you make that choice. Another key provision of the president's executive order was the extension of the $400 a week unemployment booster. Steven Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, again today said they were thinking of applying different figures when it comes to different regions of the country. They've been thinking about $400 in some areas, $600 in some areas, $800 in some areas. So, as we speak, it is still not clear how much the unemployment extension amount will be. And if the Treasury Secretary is saying that the White House is contemplating different amounts for different regions, what do you think? Do you think the flat rate unemployment booster makes sense? Or do you think the White House is right that different areas should get different amounts based on their cost of living? At this point, we are not sure how much we'll be getting from the federal unemployment extension. But so we just have to keep wait and see what this executive order will all play out to be. Was that gesture just a show, or was it really intended to help the American people? Was it just to gain political capital from the president? Time will tell. Another key provision of the president's executive orders was the extension on the eviction moratorium. The CARES Act imposed a temporary moratorium on evictions that expired July 24. The President Executive Order stipulates, I want you to listen to this carefully, because I just read about this today. Most Americans are thinking that the eviction moratorium has been extended. It really technically has not been extended. You need to listen to what I'm going to tell you right now, what I read today. The Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Director of the CDC shall consider whether any measures temporarily halting residential evictions of any tenants for failure to pay rent are reasonably necessary to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. What I read from this sentence is that a lawyer for the landlord can argue that this area, this part of the country, do not have a high risk of the coronavirus. Therefore, that extension may not apply in this area. Because it is saying here clearly that it will only apply in cases where the CDC finds out that putting you outside will increase the spread of the virus. So do we really have an eviction moratorium? More than 40 million Americans are at the verge of being evicted from their homes. The president signs a moratorium eviction extension, but I want you to read within the lines. There was no extension. It's a coded language. If the CDC finds out that evicting you will actually increase the spread of the coronavirus. It's my thinking that as as time unravels, we'll be able to get more into the details of this executive order, and you will be the judge if this was really to help the American people or if this was just a show to gain some kind of political capital. Let's talk about the stimulus checks. Updates. I can tell you as of now, there are no stimulus checks as we speak. No stimulus checks negotiations as we speak. All the negotiations fell flat last week between Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, Mark Meadows, the White House Chief of Staff, Steven Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker. When those talks failed, that's when the president now came in and made way for the executive orders. The Senate is on recess 1 month, so they will only come back on September 8th. Would that be enough time for them to have any kind of negotiations before they go back to their constituencies to start campaigning for the November elections. So if you ask me now, I will tell you the stimulus checks too is very, very gloomy. On my last video, I said so long as Senate was not able to pass this stimulus check before going on this recess, it will be very, very difficult. No negotiations are ongoing. The Senate, Congress, and the White House are more divided than ever. Mark Meadows even said last week, if they could not reach an agreement, he was going to quit. Not quitting his job, he was going to quit the debate on the stimulus checks. And he is done. So if you ask me about the stimulus checks, I will tell you, it's been highly politicized. The Democrats won 3.1 trillion. The Republicans are saying they came out with another bill, the HEALS Act. They say it's a 1 trillion. There are speculations that the Republicans and the Democrats may meet somewhere half in the middle, about 1.8 trillion, but it's all still speculation. So please do not have so much hope on these stimulus checks. It will be until September 8th before we can hear any discussions about the stimulus. So let's talk about Joe Biden's speak for the Vice President, Senator Kamala Harris, and how this may affect the stimulus check. Back in May, Senator Harris introduced the monthly Economic Crisis Support Act alongside Bernie Sanders and Ed Markey. The bill calls for a $2,000 a month stimulus payment for single filers, $4,000 a month for married filing joint filers, $2,000 a month for each dependent, for a maximum of 3 dependents. So one family can get up to $10,000. And this is supposed to be retroactive till March of 2020 to 3 months after the CDC would declare the end of coronavirus as a public safety. So this has a potential of going all the way to 2021. Senator Harris had argued that a one-time $1,200 payment is not enough to take care for our American suffering families. The question now is, will Joe Biden and his team, will they support this bill now that she is his vice president? Will the Joe Biden team support the monthly Economic Crisis Support Act, which is considered largely as a universal basic income proposal? Harris argued back in May. She said, if we can bail out large corporations, we can make sure everyone in this country has enough money to pay for the basic necessities of life. The one-time $1,200 payment by the CARES Act is not enough to meet the needs of the suffering families devastated by the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. So will the Biden team use Senator Kamala Harris now as the VP's proposed economic stimulus plan to show the American people that they do care for the American people coming November? Although the Biden team has not, they haven't said anything about this plan, but there are speculations that they may pick up the plan just for them to be able to gain some kind of political capital to show the American people they care about them and they want to help them out of this suffering from the coronavirus pandemic. So we'll all wait and see how. So congratulations, Senator Kamala Harris, on your nomination as the vice president for the Democratic ticket. This is a historic pick indeed, the first African American woman to actually be nominated for such a high office in the United States of America. We congratulate you, and we hope that your hard working and your care for the American people will actually resonate with the White House. Thank you. As C2C Mentors is a real estate mentorship community, all we do here, we discuss your finances because we understand it is the foundation. We've all been through this journey together. We've all suffered through the coronavirus pandemic, and whatever we think that will help you and your family get out of this, we'll bring it to you live. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share our video, click the like button, and also don't forget to click the notification bell so you get our videos as we put them out. Thank you so much. May God bless you.